guys.
You can turn on the heat.
There we go. I fixed my hat. Now we are on our way. Whew. We're gonna go to some boat thing.
U.S. Kentucky.
U.S.
The Lexington. We're gonna go check out the Lexington today. And this is his day.
My day.
His day. We
We're all
had
set. Let's go.
whatever she said.
In 0.1 of a mile, turn left.
That's a cool bridge. That's a cool thing. Don't know what that is. And then we have a boat.
That is
Big boat.
It's a ship.
I was gonna say, you know, like all my Navy people, my military friends are rolling in their graves. That's not a boat. It's a ship. It's a big boat. We get to go on it.
Turn left.
Pier 99.
Deja vu.
I know, right? Oh, look, little scooters.
You have reached your destination.
It's right over there.
Parking spot is not open anymore.
Well, hey guys, welcome back. A boat. Husband says no, it's a ship. It is definitely a ship, and he is like a kid in the candy factory right now. So we're gonna go in and we're gonna go check this out because I've never been on a big carrier like this. He used to live on one, so this should be a lot of fun. Why don't you guys come along? Oh, I gotta go. He's getting mad at me. He says, oh, cart path. He says, this is the obvious thing. He says, this is not how you would normally get on a boat. Really? But it's not a boat, it's a ship. But there's Rockport and Corpus Christi area. So it's kind of neat. That's another, it's really, really pretty out here. I'm really, and you know, I think he's wanting to move. He's asking me about weather. How, okay, I better stop doing this now. Fade out. So welcome to the USS Lexington. I figure this is going to be the easiest way to narrate all this because typing it out will be a pain in the butt. So as you walk aboard, they have all these little things about the ship and everything. This was the coolest because I could see it from really far away, and I was like, why is there a flag there? But apparently the ship was hit during a kamikaze session, and it killed like 45 people. It was pretty cool. So when you go in, they have these boards in front of the planes, just like a lot of the other places. And this plane was really kind of cool. They have all these little mannequins all set up around there, so those aren't real people. And this particular one, they refurbished and put it right back in there, took everything out, and that's what it looks like when it's done. This plane was being repainted, and it's pretty cool. You couldn't get in there, so I had to like separate the plastic and poke my camera in to take a look at it because there was actually a guy in there working on it. This was kind of like a flight simulator, and they had these little boards here and there so you could check out all this stuff. And this was all the different flags and everything, so you kind of looked at it and you knew what all the flags were up on the top. You know, I don't know what any of all this stuff means, but I guess that's, if you're a boater, you know what all that stuff means. And of course this is on the flight with the flags and the doodaddy and all that stuff, so that's what all those mean. And husband told me I should go check out the bathroom because I didn't know what it looked like, so here I go. Well, I don't have to go, but husband says that I should check it out, so. station right there. So that's that, and I didn't realize somebody was in there. But those are the showers, and it's just like military barrack showers, I guess. They were really small, kind of like your showers in your house. So they did have these plaques up all over the place about women in the Navy and stuff like that. So it was kind of neat to see recognition there about women and way back when, you know, I guess it wasn't normal. So you'll see these little doors everywhere, and I thought they were kind of neat. And I guess one-sided hatches are better than two, but this was kind of a cool plane. It was yellow, and it kind of struck my attention. I don't know what it is, but it's a cool yellow plane. It's a prop plane, and I guess it used to be used on the Lexington. So, and then there's the brake. So I stuck my husband in there. So he's like, "Oh crap, I'm stuck in here." And that was a lot of fun. But you can just take some pictures. It's a great place for kids to get a photo op. Somebody got in trouble. Somebody got in trouble. Somebody got in trouble. What is that? Something you get to sit on?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a little standy thing for kids.
So, as I was saying, you got Division S1, Aviation Mechanic. That was their...
S1 SK.
Yeah. Well, if you look closely, it's actually an AK, but...
Oh, it looks like an SK to me.
AK, S1, SK.
S1 SK. Oh, there's...
You can't see because of the glare.
Oh, okay.
Little cool right here.
Oh, it's nice.
In the real ship, each one of these hangar bays are separated by a fire door. So if there's an explosion or fire, these things shut.
So this is what he's talking about, those fire doors, and they move. They're pretty cool. So this was a plane that I think is out of order. But this one here is one that was flown by President Bush, believe it or not, like way back when, I think he was senior, when he was young. And this is a whole bunch of information. So if you want to pause the video and read it, it's actually pretty good information. It took me a little bit to read it. And of course, then they have this giant model of the plane. I mean, the whole thing. She said, "Go in. This is dangerous."
Single seater? Nope.
We're gonna get locked in. She don't want us in here. Ah! Please keep door locked during. Well, I guess there's no seat belts.
No harnesses.
Oh boy. Insert money, take a seat, and press the blue button to start. There's their blue button. There's a blue button. I guess we have to wait for her, maybe. That didn't light up. U.S. Lexington Flight Simulator. Insert credit. Did you press the blue button?
I did. You can be my wingman.
I can be the wingman?
June 17, 1965. The early days of the Vietnam War. Strike aircraft launched from the deck of the USS Midway on Yankee Station, 100 miles from the North Vietnamese coast.
You know why he veers off that quick?
Let's keep from getting hit.
No, it's for the next plane. So the next
The
plane.
aircraft assemble over the Gulf and push into North Vietnam. Agent Smith's missile slams into the MiG-17. Batson's missile strikes the second MiG element. 1972.
This was on Discovery Channel.
Yeah, it was.
National Defense, Muggs has a patented last-ditch maneuver for just this situation. Muggs jams the stick forward and stomps the left rudder pedal, then pulls hard back. The F-4 tumbles. It's a maneuver as spectacular as it is gutsy, the domain of only the greatest fighter pilots.
That's pretty cool.
Have a kill. But there's no time to celebrate. They spot their wingman, Mike Rabb, in the weeds with a MiG in hot pursuit. Rabb drags the enemy MiG across his nose. Muggs pitches down. The expert MiG killer easily swings in on his enemy's six. Killer MiG sailor.
So I really think that was supposed to move, but it was still fun anyway. So here's another one of the planes that they have on display, and some of the flags and what they mean, and the pins that you see on their lapels and stuff like that. So it was kind of cool. So now we go down into the boat and start our first tour. Alright, up we go. Man, this is really... Up we go. I can see how you'd hit your knees
Yeah,
on this. Where'd you go?
I'm up here.
I'm coming.
And we don't have webbing. I see you're trying to walk.
I'm not trying to walk, I'm trying to go up sideways because I'd hit my knees.
So we never had webbing. That was about as steep as they would be. We did have non-stick.
Non-stick stuff.
Yeah, we would have those. You'd have to peel them off about every 6 months.
Do not enter, deck unsafe. So this little thing that he's talking about that he's got in his hand, it's a comm thing. You plug it into that little hole there and you can hear what's going on around the ship. They're everywhere. And then this is just a little thing about the history of the way that the uniforms have changed over the years. And then there was this cool jack flag. This is a military jack. This is before the American flag was actually made. So this is really, really old. It was kind of neat. And this is the history on it. So if you want, pause the video. It's really cool to read. But this next video picture that's coming up, that's what it looked like. That's how they flew it. And so because the American flag wasn't made, that's what they did. So I thought that was pretty neat. And then they have all these little tiny models of all the different ships, all the different type of warships and where they were. They did a really good job with this whole museum, putting all of this stuff together. I mean, there's so much history here. And all you have to do is take some time to go through it. And it took us all day. But there's an idea of the Lexington size. I wish they had the Roosevelt next to it because the Roosevelt was like twice the size of the Lexington. It was pretty cool. And then, you know, I thought it was kind of neat at the very beginning of the video, just take pictures of all these hallways and everything. And these are all the different kind of medals of that are awarded on the captains of, there's so many captains of the Lexington. And then the gentleman asked us to take a look at the hula hoop skirt. So one of the ship's volunteers said that the sailors would take the paracords from enemy parachutes and make these hula skirts out of them. And I guess that was their little pastime. So that's pretty cool. This is the guy in the yellow. He came down and he gave us a private tour of this whole area. So I missed taking a bunch of pictures. This is all the captain's quarters and his private bedroom and stuff like that. And this guy, this is kind of neat. There's like really cool history behind this where that plane behind the front plane is actually pushing the plane. So definitely pause it and definitely read this because the story is really cool. So it's called Pedro's Push. And just read that. It's really cool. So just pause it. Next up is we have a kind of a quarter. This is not where the Admiral would sleep. This is kind of like a guest room. Odd is on the port and even is on the starboard.
Very good.
And that's where? 2L. That's what that means, right? That means. Overhead, he says.
Now what's BHD?
Can you imagine? BHD. BHD.
I forget what the H stands for, but it's battle.
Below
device.
your head, 74 inches.
It's the emergency lighting.
Running, and I'm going to drill.
And this is what we call knee knockers.
Access. Captain's office.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, ooh, there's a dude in there. I have to say, this is a really low overhead 77. Ooh, this is neat. What is this stuff? Lighting panels.
This is your electrical panels.
Electrical panels.
Your transformers.
Control, disconnect, flip handle, test, boop.
Boat puts out about 440 volts, and it has to be stepped down to usable use.
Uh-huh.
So you could either have 220 or 120. That's the hum that you hear, because it's stepping it down from 440. Yeah, so he's the electrical guy. He knows all that stuff, but there was a pretty loud hum right there. It was kind of neat. So as we go along, they have these little areas where they have all these cases that have a lot of donated memorabilia from various families and stuff like that. And I just thought this was kind of neat. I don't know what it all meant, but it's just kind of cool looking. But this is, I guess, where the pilots would come down and they'd get their orders for the day and hang out and do stuff. And this is a squawk box. And this is kind of neat. I guess this is the thing that you could hear everybody when they like, woo-ee-yoo type thing. And then now hear this, now hear this. Well, that's what that is. So it's called a squawk box. So it was kind of neat, really old, and it was kind of neat. So it tells you all the little bit of information on here, and I tried to get as much of that in as possible. And of course, these are all the captain's uniforms over the years of the ship being in service, and how the uniform system has changed and all that kind of cool stuff.
1944. The purpose of the ready room on an aircraft carrier was multifunctional. This compartment would act as a staging area where pilots would stand by after being briefed concerning a mission's objective, or to be debriefed after a mission was flown. This was also the pilot's battle station. Many hours of waiting took place in this compartment, sometimes only to have the mission scrubbed due to weather conditions or any number of operational situations. This time was passed by playing cards and conversing about home. This ready room was made possible with donations of artifacts and information from members of VB-19. That is all.
That's all we need to leave.
That was all.
That is all. Fade out. So they had a lot of these little dark hallways that you couldn't go down, but this was kind of neat. They had another model. It was all different kinds of models everywhere, and all the different types of currency and lots of little trinkets and pictures and stuff like that of people that were actually on the ship and what they did. And another little ready room area for other people, not necessarily for pilots or anything. And then they had these really cool rooms that tried to give you an idea of what it looked like every day. There was another person standing next to me, so I couldn't record what the little button said, but it talked about all of the air operations and what these guys would do, and then all the lights would change. So as we're walking down, I mean, there's like really, if you're tall, this is awful. And of course, Sean's got to open all the doors. And this was some type of room. I don't remember going in here, but it looks like it's some type of metal room or trophy room or something like that. But to keep you from getting lost, they had all these little tags here. Please this way, or tour this way, or whatever. And the stairs, you got used to them, but man, were they steep. So if you're a big person, you gotta be careful with these. I mean, they just would go up and down like a regular old ladder. I mean, it was pretty steep. So as we continued to go up, I want to say we went up like I don't want to say 2 decks, but it was like 4 flights of stairs. And everywhere there was a spaghetti mess of wires. There's so many wires. They were everywhere. I mean, so much wires. And now we go on the flight deck. So I'm going to kind of stop my jibber jabber in here, throw in some music because this is just way cool and I can't explain it. So enjoy.
All you see is white, frothy. See, this doesn't scare me.
It doesn't scare me, but this would scare my mother half to death.
This is awesome. But waves, I mean, just as far.
He says this is awesome.
Just as far as the length of the ship is. This is awesome. But you put me on a ladder 60 feet in the air and I freeze. See the height?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So you'd have one guy doing the elevation.
Oh, so you, man,
The other guy would be doing the rotation.
turning the whole thing. All right.
And both of you would be on freaking pedals.
Oh, that would suck if the other guy wants to go one way and you want to go another way.
No, because that's why you only have one person controlling it.
So then we make our way up to the bridge and we stop to look at some of the navigation maps that they had on display. And it was a pretty neat little thing. They have very detailed, very old rudimentary things. You'd figure they'd be a little bit more up to date, but it was pretty cool. So let's head over to the bridge and see what it looks like. So here's the bridge, and it is filled with buttons and knobs, and I don't know what everything is, except for the thing on the right. That big thing with the black balls on either side. You might notice from the Maritime Museum video that I made, that is a compass, and every ship will have one of those. It helps calibrate their internal compass. They all have one of those. So This thing was really neat. I wish I could tell you what everything was, but you'll have to look it up. Now this is the main bridge on the other side as you look out over the front of the flight deck. And there's even more buttons and even more knobs and things that you're not supposed to press and get in trouble with. Because you know I would get in trouble with. But if you were watching a plane take off, wouldn't that be the coolest view? And also, if you ever find yourself on an aircraft carrier and you don't have any type of steering, here's your instructions. Pause the video, memorize it just in case. You never know.
Over here. Clear the way. He's under his own power.
No, he's not. Look, he's, well, okay.
He's under his own power.
Stay here and do the time lapse. Oh, that's a good idea. Okay, was this on your boat?
No, Brian.
Was this on your boat?
No, what is this? This is insane. Why would you do? Why would you do this to a carrier?
Why would you do this to your carrier?
Lord.
Good Lord.
Hey, are you still filming?
Yeah.
But Brian, this would have made soda loads so much faster.
Don't know what he's talking about, but Brian, if you're watching this and you got this far into the video, I hope you know what he's talking about.
That is insane. Yeah.
So after that little chuckle, we checked this office, and apparently Assistant Houston and Assistant Williams didn't do a very good job with keeping Supervisor Dan Lott's office open. I peeked through the little keyhole, and that's what it looked like inside. It is a little bit of a mess. So as we wandered around, it took us back up into that main hangar part, and we collected my mom and decided to go back downstairs for another tour where it showed you like the kitchen and the place where you can get a shave and a hair salon and stuff like that. And so there was a couple little things down here that were really kind of neat. Hold on. Okay, that was my neighbor. Anyway, back to what I was saying. These were all different kinds of manual, hydraulic, and pressure valves that if anybody has seen anything, that show called Ghosts, and there's an American version and there's a English version. And this reminds me of the boiler room in the English version of the TV series Ghosts, because you're not supposed to press buttons and turn valves. So this was a little area for the dentist to get your teeth cleaned and so forth. And I guess it's an area that nobody likes to be in when it comes to a ship, but I don't think it was colored that way. And then here's the barber shop. And Sean says he spent a lot of time down here. Apparently my husband had hair when he was on the Navy because he was on the Roosevelt. But it's kind of really strange because as I went through the rest of the ship, this was really big compared to the kitchen area and the dining hall and the bunk rooms and so forth. It was just weird. And then, of course, they have all the pipes all labeled. And there's different color codes for different pipes. I have a picture in here somewhere. But all the pipes are always labeled like this. And then this room it was huge. It wasn't just this centerpiece. If you go all the way around the room, it was all model airplanes and ships and everything. It was all models. It was really cool. Then there was this, which I thought was a really cool tribute to all the sailors that was on the USS Lexington. So that's pretty cool.
idiot wrote on it. But yeah, my entire life was in one of these. And then I had one of these where I had my jackets and my jeans and whatnot. And then this was for shoes and accessories and wow.
So you had 2 lockers
Had
and
one.
then your bunk.
Yeah, when I first arrived, all I did was that one. And then when I became the third, I got this one. And when I became second, I got that one. And then they never took it back away from me after mass. And then, yeah, we had a little card playing table.
And that was
we,
it,
We
huh?
would sit here and...
I can't imagine having this whole room filled with guys. Oh,
There was 5 of us, and you took turns. 2 of you took turns at the table.
so can you imagine having all of your stuff? Now you have a mat that's on top of that drawer, and then all your stuff is in that drawer, or all your stuff is in that one little locker. My daughter, who was in the Air Force, I got to see this, and it's not very far from the truth. But, oh, there it is. That's what I was looking for earlier. That is the coloring code for all the pipes on the ships. So if you go back and see all these different colored pipes, now you know what they are. I don't know why it was so far down on the ship before I could take a picture of this, but it should have been way up at the top. And of course, now we're heading down into the engine room area, and they had more. The hallways were wider than they were a couple of decks up, and everything was painted green. It wasn't white like the other ones, or it wasn't dark colored. It was all this funky seafoam green. So the engine room is down there. We couldn't go down there because they were doing work, but you can see all the way down to the bottom underneath that other bulkhead that they're still doing a lot of work. They're doing a ton of work on the ship. They were doing work on the flight deck while we were there. They were redoing some of the rooms. It was just so much stuff was under construction. This is one of the engine rooms, and this actually will take you in a giant loop all the way around. So you'll be on like the other side of the engine room looking back in as you go all the way around. And I'm not sure if I have pictures of it or not. But this is now, as you go past the engine room area, this is your kitchen. So this is your chow hall basically. And it's just like a regular old high school chow hall line. Well, back in my day at the high school, you had your trays and you slide them on the little rails. And then they give you little things. But I guess you had accounts that, you know, as you got paid, they would go into like a credit account or a deposit account. And each one of these things had little costs that you could, you know, choose from. And, you know, that's what this was. But this stuff looks pretty good. They have a lot of neat things that you could have eaten. I don't know if this is what they ate on the ship or not, but could you imagine being on the ocean and having to store all of this stuff somewhere on the ship so it doesn't go rotten? I don't know about you, but vegetables these days, they go rotten pretty quickly. This is if you had to have any type of dental work other than just like a doctor's visit, which was in another video. And it was really kind of funny because you can't see it in the pictures very well, but the pictures of the faces on these mannequins, oh my gosh, some of them were hilarious. Now this is your little receptionist area where you would check in, and just like nowadays for your appointment, but you're on a boat. So everything would be set up like normal citizen type systems, but on a boat. So this is down in one of the engine rooms that they were working on. I took a picture through a hole. And it's pretty messy. You know, can you imagine if it's like that all the time? Not nice and pretty and clean. You're down in there and it's steam and it's noisy and loud and hot and just absolutely miserable. I think that would be miserable down there. I don't think I'd do very well as a Navy person. I don't like water very much. Now these guys, they had these all over the place too, where they would have a mannequin and a blank face, and then they would project somebody's face on it, and as you would go through, you'd press the button where it says push here, and the thing would talk. It was just the creepiest looking thing. But it was cool. There was a lot of information, a ton of information. And oh yeah, by the way, we lost my mom about halfway through. She heard something creepy and turned around and went back. I don't think she likes tight quarters anyway. But as we come back up through here, we came across this little guy. And this is exactly what my husband wore when he was on the Roosevelt. He was on the flight deck and he made sure that all the planes got off, or I don't know what he did. He was in like the little R2-D2 thing. He says, but this was his uniform. Exactly. So, and then I just thought this was kind of cute. Good landing. Not outstanding landing, but you know, hey, you still made it. Good for you. You get a gold star. And then of course you have to have a post office so you can get all of those letters from family and friends, just to know that, you know, hey, you put something in the post office, it probably won't get there in 3 or 4 days. It might take a little longer, but that was kind of neat. And then it actually did have on the side of the wall a mailbox that says this is not a functioning post office. So because, you know, those things are owned by the government, so that's has to say. This is the other side of the ship that I took a picture of before, that you saw the back side before the memorial. And that's the other side, so you made a giant loop all the way around. And this was my funniest picture, because as this goes through, I don't know if you'll be able to see the other caption. It says 1954, acute appendicitis on board. 1958, the operation is successful. Poor guy. It took him 4 years to get his appendicitis out. So this is the hospital area. This is where after you had surgery, you went to recover. And then they did have an area that was for ICU, which was in that room that you can see there on the right. That's isolation. And this here, the articles of the government of the United States Navy, this had to be posted like the like in your employer things where it says, you know, you have to post this in conspicuous places. This is all the rules of being employed and yada, yada, yada. And there's a joke here with this particular article. So enjoy that one. Now we're on the back side of all of that extra stuff. And quiz time. What does that piping mean? You have to go back and go look at your piping. Hurry up, I'll wait. Oh, here you go. It is AFFF foam discharge. And I know this simply because of the color of the pipe and the striping. On top of that, they had all these like giant blue containers that had AFF foam, and it's supposed to be for some sort of thing. I don't know, some type of fire. I don't know, I guess it puts it out. So this is a funny thing, but not a funny thing, because husband told me that this particular room was meant to be a warhead discharge room that the museum turned into a chaplain. So, and there's us goofy pictures. We're such goofy people. Look, we're tourists. What do you expect? Whew, it's cold. So, we're here again. Look how quiet it is. So pretty. You want to see something really fun? Check this out.
Great shadows
That's so pretty.
from the sun.
Yeah.